Hello everyone, my name is Chrissy and welcome to my channel. It's been a hot minute since I've recorded, but I'm back with a new book review. And today I'm doing a book review of Sculpt Yourself by Savvy. Savvy is a booktube slash authortube creator, and I will link her channel in the description below. Now, Sculpt Yourself is a contemporary novel which follows three main characters and their relationship to a new medication called Lipomorph that comes out. Lipomorph, what it does is, if you take it, after a certain amount of time, you can start moving the fat on your body to wherever you want it to go. And yes, I did do this because a lot of the people who take it happen to be women, and they either push the fat up to their boobs or push it down to their bottom. In other words, to get perfect hourglass figures. And so with this story, as said, we follow three characters. The first character is Amber. Now, Amber is a self-proclaimed feminist. She's what I think people would call a social justice warrior. She has very strong ideas about the patriarchy and how equality needs to be a thing that happens, and she's very outspoken about her viewpoints. She also likes to eat a lot of snacks, smoke some weed, and watch television shows, mainly sitcoms, in order to play drinking games on the tropes or repeated things that happen in the sitcom, which sounds amazing. The next character is Judy, who is the sister of Amber. Now, Judy works at this coffee shop called Big Mama's, and she happens to not like her figure very much. She's always been a little bit of a bigger gal, but when Lipomorph comes out, she decides, hey, now's my time. And she takes Lipomorph and ends up getting a figure that she's really happy with. So with that comes this renewed confidence. I don't even know if I should call it renewed because she doesn't really have confidence to begin with, but she gets this burst of confidence with just liking her body. This comes into contrast with Amber's point of view, and yes, the two have tension, which I will talk about later on. The last character is Kelly, who is the love interest of Amber in this book, and she happens to be a little bit of the middle person as far as the extreme views of Amber and Judy about Lipomorph. Kelly is also a bisexual character. I forgot to mention Amber is a gay character, but Kelly is a bisexual character who is also a vegan, and so she looks for vegan food trucks everywhere. Well, actually she doesn't, but it happens to come up quite a few times. So as said before, the book is about Lipomorph, the drug, and how it affects these three people and how it enters their lives. What I love most about this book, and I like this book a lot, is that not only is it just about how this medication affects people, but it's also about relationships at its core. So you have the relationship between Judy and her sister Amber, and how both of them are butting heads over this medication because Judy really likes it for the confidence it brings her and the fact that she's now happy with the body that she has. But whereas Amber is thinking, you're just conforming to society's viewpoint, which is under a male gaze, and you're following what the patriarchy wants. So she has that view of what this medication is about. And we get to see the two sides of the argument play out with these two characters. And I really appreciate that. I appreciated that there was a nuance to this conversation about body and choice and changing your body. And I like the added dynamic of Kelly because she's what I think most people are like when it would probably come to this medication, which would be not particularly strong feelings. Like, she doesn't stand on a soapbox and shout about things, but she does have a viewpoint of what she thinks is right and wrong and what goes on the in-between, which I think most people do, that it's not just one or the other, that there's this nuance that happens. And I think Kelly fits into that viewpoint and that mindset. Then also we have probably the most realistic relationship that I've seen in a book yet between Amber and Kelly. I was appreciative of Savvy that she didn't just let communication be at the forefront of the problems between Kelly and Amber. While there are things that both of them don't tell one another, more so on Kelly's part than Amber's, it's not so much miscommunication as this dread that Kelly has towards talking to Amber about some of the viewpoints that she has and some of her experiences, because she knows that it's going to be a tough conversation to have with Amber, who has this really narrow and strict viewpoint of the world. So it was nice to kind of see that as the central conflict of that, yes, we're going to have this conversation, but hell if it's going to be a good conversation or one that's going to be easy. In fact, it's going to be a very hard conversation, and I know that this person's not going to agree with me, and in fact, we're going to probably have words beyond just me explaining myself. So I was really appreciative of that. And then the actual conversation that they do have is so realistic that it doesn't particularly go well, and it's not this great conversation where both of them feel cathartic by the end, but rather, both of them have problems with one another, and all of a sudden it's coming out because they were in this new relationship, and now they're realizing that both of each other are not what they seem to be, or they may be exactly what they seem to be. Now, admittedly, if I could have a small in regards to the relationships in this book, I kind of wished that Judy and Luke's relationship, I wish we could have seen more of the progression of it, but overall, I thought it was really well done. I like this book a lot, and I think that it would behoove people to pick it up and give it a look. I probably deep dived a lot more into it mentally than was typically necessary, because I started thinking about medications, because it's something I talk about for work a lot, is medications, how we use them, what we use them for, and why they're in our lives, that kind of thing. And how lipomorph was handled in Sculpt Yourself is a great kind of lesson that I would love to be able to give in one of my classrooms, because one of the things I like to talk about is testing and, clinical studies in these kind of scenarios. And to me, I would use lipomorph as an example of one that's not really well tested. And admittedly, a nerdy part of me wanted more details in regards to the medication, how it came on the market, what was the clinical testing, did they test on animals, did they test on humans, what did the clinical trials look like, and what category did it fall in? Is it category A medication, category B, category C? I have a feeling it probably follows more in the category C section, where it's not as well tested. Like, there is clinical testing, but it's not the greatest when it comes to human testing. So I'd love to see that part of it, but I think that's just me diving in far deeper than it means to go. So one of the things that I really liked about this book is kind of how hypocritical some of these characters could be. For example, Amber is a big example of this. She talks about how, misogynistic some people are, or how the patriarchy is hell and gone. But then she listens to Eminem, and she knows that this is not a great look for her because she says Eminem is misogynistic. But I thought that that was a great moment as far as her character goes, because guaranteed there's people who will spout off about injustice, but then either watch something or listen to something that probably goes against the very thing that they're preaching about. And I thought that was such a great moment in this book. Overall, I thought this was a great novel. There was a lot of funny parts in it, and I really just liked the dynamics between all the characters. I urge everyone to give it a read. That's my review for this book. If you like this video, give it that thumbs up button. If you like seeing this face talk about books, or you missed this face talking about books, then hit the subscribe button. And as always and forever, may get lost in a book.